DFS Huddle, Week 11. Sorry we're a little bit late. I honestly forgot I've been under the weather the last couple days. And then we were going to start a few minutes ago, but Erik had to tell me about I live by care. He does all the crazy dating. I don't do. I've been on a sabbatical, like a 9-month sabbatical from the ladies. It's been nice. I feel whole. I feel clean. I feel stress free. I've watched a lot of great television. I'll say that. But Week 11, we appreciate everyone who's watching wherever you're watching. Let me get the chat on here because I know we're gonna have our guy in here. We got some like Alameda Zacchaeus had a terrible week. He dropped a touchdown in the end zone. But nonetheless, I owe you some beer. I gotta send you beer because Kenneth Walker. Both of them did terrible, but Walker was the better version of terrible between he and Shaheed. So got some crow to eat there, but there was some good Week 10 stuff. I looked at some of the lineups we put out on the Patreon. 210.5 was our top Draftkings lineup. That's winning you a lot of money in the millionaire. I don't know where that finished. I don't remember, but 210.5, some good stuff. If you want to join the Patreon, click the link, hit the like button, subscribe button. If you got a question, start sit. I've got a start sit question when we get to that. When we talk quarterbacks, I want to get Erik's opinion because I'm stumped and don't know what to do. So all that good stuff. So head into Week 11. Erik, my man, the lame duck commissioner himself, he's got a commission guillotine league that he's no longer in. Just a brutal scenario. So I did a wellness check. Make sure you're all right. We know you got filled with helium last week. How we doing? How we feeling heading into Week 11?
I've recovered from my colonoscopy. A joy whenever you have to get one done. I had to get mine done a couple of years earlier than I should have, but everything came back good. I don't feel like I have a balloon in my stomach anymore. So, life's good, man.
Yeah, I got an upper GI Monday. I've been getting baked and then having this anxiety where I'm not going to wake up from anesthesia. I'm not excited. I don't like doing this kind of shit, but nonetheless, here we are. We've already got questions, quarterback question. We are going to go over position by position DFS. We'll make a little lineup at the end. Again, you want all of our lineups, best bets, all that stuff. Click the link, video description below. Join DFS Huddle Patreon, $15. Sports Facts 2121. Thank you for watching. Number one, before we break it down, and a must win: Jackson or Stafford. My nephew just asked me Jackson or Herbert, and I had to say Herbert. And my question revolves around Herbert too. And Jackson or Stafford. So you got Stafford at home against Seattle. Lamar is what? He's at home against Cleveland or on the road against Cleveland? He's at home against Baltimore, excuse me. Or Cleveland, yeah. Lamar's at home against Cleveland. Or on the road against Cleveland. I can't. Yeah. Where's the schedule?
He's on the road. He's on the road against Cleveland.
So it's in Baltimore.
No, it's in Cleveland. It's in Cleveland.
Oh, in Cleveland. Sorry. I'm seeing the screen weird. Wow, I think I've taken too much medicine. My fault. Let me look at this. In Cleveland, and then you've got Stafford at home, right, against Seattle. Yeah. What do you think there? So my thing is Lamar, so he popped up with that knee injury. He's full go. He's good to go. But since he's come back, it doesn't seem like he's trying to run all that much. And that's what makes Lamar special, right, for fantasy, is the rushing upside. I'm inclined here. I think Seattle will probably push back harder on the Rams, force the Rams offense to keep trying to score as opposed to Cleveland against Baltimore, despite that bad defense. I think I'd lean Stafford here. What do you think?
Lamar, I looked into it. I posted a bet in the Patreon for this game. Lamar only averages 148 yards in his career passing against Cleveland. And Cleveland's only allowing 13 points per game at home this year. Their defense has been elite. And he popped up as an injury report, as you said. So as crazy as it sounds, I would probably take Stafford over Lamar.
I think I'm taking Stafford's throwing 2-3 touchdowns every single week, got the weapons on the outside. Seattle's going to be pushing back. I think it's Stafford. My question to you, just because I want to be the high scorer, I have a super team, as you know. You're the commissioner. You know what my roster. I'm playing James Cook in the flex, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? It's a pretty good team.
Tough life.
But do I play Jalen Hurts at home against Detroit Sunday night, or do I play Justin Herbert on the road against the worst matchup, like the team that allows the most adjusted fantasy points allowed, all the stuff to quarterbacks, the Jacksonville Jaguars? My concern is I don't like the West Coast teams playing that early window on the East Coast on the road. They start slow. This happened with Herbert against the Giants, and it happened against the Dolphins when he got under 20. It's his highest projection of the season. Do I go Hurts? All the noise talking about the offense against the Lions, who are definitely going to force the issue, or Herbert with the best matchup that you could get against the Jags? Which one?
I would probably go Hurts just because of the rushing upside. Detroit's defense just still, in my eyes, isn't right. They're still missing some key pieces. And could they run? You know what I mean? That's my thing. Like, is it going to be a thing where they get down there and then the touchdowns are going to Vidal?
Yeah, maybe. It's tough. I think I'm leaning Hurts. Like right now, Hurts is in. But, I mean, Herbert is a great matchup. So speaking of quarterbacks, he's on the main slate. Herbert's got the matchup against Jacksonville, who allow the 5th most Fanduel or DraftKings points, the highest adjusted fantasy points allowed in terms of matchups, Erik, when you're just looking. So this is adjusted fantasy points allowed, added or subtracted from its opponents, based on how it goes against quarterbacks. The Jags are the number one matchup to exploit. Bengals, the second worst. And we've got the Giants, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Bears, the 49ers, Jets, whom we've already seen, and the Patriots. And then the Titans, Vikings, and Colts round out that 10 there, and with the Lions coming in right behind on Sunday Night Football. So the top-heavy guys, Erik, all have difficult matchups. So the three most difficult matchups, this is just crazy to think after week 3 or 4, what we were saying. The Baltimore Ravens are the number one defense to avoid in terms of quarterbacks and adjusted FPA. Think about that. They were the worst just a few weeks ago, right? They were right there with Dallas, so that's weird. Then you have Buffalo. Then you have Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Denver, LA, Arizona, and a lot of these guys. So you have Lamar with a tough matchup against Cleveland at the top, Josh Allen, a tougher matchup against Tampa Bay, Mahomes against Denver, and then Stafford, Seattle. These are your 4 most expensive guys. I think the guy I like the most is probably Josh Allen, falling close with Stafford. Might be fading Lamar and Mahomes this week. What do you think of quarterback?
I only have 3 guys I really like when I really looked at it, man. Okay. Obviously, Josh Allen, 306, 2 tutties, 1 TD, 31 rushing yards and a fumble last week. Has gone 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in 1 of 4 games. Has 4 passing scores in 3 games. Has 3 rushing scores in 4. And against this Tampa Bay defense, which has been so good against the run, I think they're going to force him to pass it more. I am a little bit concerned with the news that Dalton Kincaid is out for this game. He's such a key part of the passing attack. The other one, I am going down to Davis Mills. DJ Stroud is out. Mills is a good matchup on the road against the Titans. Rallied the team down from 17-0, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 TD, had 3 touchdowns, 20 yards, and 1 TD on the ground. He's only averaging 5.7 yards per attempt, but the Titans do give up the 10th most points to quarterbacks per game over the last 6. And the other quarterback I'm looking at, and I hate myself for saying this, Caleb Williams, 220, 1 TD, and 8 rushes for 63 and a touchdown on the ground. Has a 50 yards running in 2 straight on the road, is averaging 247 yards with 1.4 TDs and 0.6 INTs. Went 210-1 and 6 for 58 and a touchdown on the ground in September, meaning the Vikings are allowing the 9th most points to QBs per game in the last 6 weeks. So those are right now. Those are the 3 quarterbacks. So we have mid guy in Williams, lower price in Mills, and a high price guy in Allen. Those are kind of the 3 guys I'm looking at so far.
Some lower price guys. So Aaron Rodgers against the Bengals. I mean, that Bengals defense is terrible. In the first meeting already this year, Aaron Rodgers scored 25 against the Bengals. So maybe this is a real buy low spot. You're getting him cheap. No one's going to own him maybe in tournaments if you want to get crazy. What about on the other side of that, Joe Flacco? I don't see it. That Steelers secondary is decimated with injuries.
Brutal.
It's really bad. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, I mean, they should run wild. I think Flacco is probably in play. Mm-hmm. What about Jacoby Brissett against the 49ers? The 49ers cannot stop the pass. Brissett's kind of settled in. They know Kyler Murray's on IR. No, Marvin Harrison would be the issue. We'll talk about that when we get to value receivers, but he's 4,900 DraftKings. Do you know that there's one quarterback who scored over 20 fantasy points in each of the last 4 weeks, and that man is Jacoby Brissett? So, Jacoby Brissett, 4,900 DraftKings, 7K FanDuel, I think is absolutely in play. If you want to stack him with Trey McBride and be a different kind of millionaire maker stack, I think that makes an absolute ton of sense as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Justin Herbert. I think the matchups there, again, the concern, talked about this, the West Coast heading to the East, the early window, sometimes it's these sluggish starts and you're always trying to sort of catch up fantasy-wise. You get to halftime and they have like 5 and you're fucking frustrated. So there is that concern. And another buy low spot. I don't think he's cheap enough, but just keep an eye on Jordan Love. Jordan Love, no one's going to play him. The Giants are a fantastic matchup. The offense looked absolutely pathetic. And it just feel like it's going to be one of those things where first quarter Jordan Love's throwing 2 long touchdowns like to Dobbs or Christian Watson or something. And so it's just some low-owned tournament options with good matchups, right?
He's definitely going to be under-owned. I mean, like the thing everyone needs to remember when they do these is after a guy is disappointed, that next week is the week where the ownership's going to be low and you can really attack. And Love definitely fits that criteria this week.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's it. Anything else at quarterback before we move on to running back? I appreciate everyone watching. Like, subscribe, join the Patreon, which I think is going to get turned into a Discord or something. So we can have I think it'll be easier. People like that more.
Okay.
We'll figure that out. I think it'll just be better. But get into running backs. And this is always a position. You know what I haven't even looked at? Like the first thing we should be doing, especially now, my God, looking at the weather. Looking at the weather. Weather will always get you another wrong all the time, and they'll totally fuck you like those. I mean, they just will. But let me just see. Snow showers in Buffalo, so that's going to impact the quarterback play. Likely snow, it says in Buffalo. So that's a late window game. That's going to be a fucking dope-ass game. My 2 favorite players, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, are my 2 favorite players in the league. Let's see. Some rain showers. Oh, that's in LA. That's inside. Don't worry about that. A little bit of rain possibly in Cleveland, Denver, but it looks like warm rain in Denver. So really the Buffalo Tampa Bay game's the one just to kind of keep an eye on with the snow, etc. So at the top, of course, it's McCaffrey, Bijan, usual suspects. The best matchup on paper, obviously Josh Jacobs taking on those Giants. It's one of the best, if not the best. Bengals, Falcons, Giants, Bills, Cowboys are the 5 matchups you want to attack. Washington, of course, that defense is terrible. Who you liking at running back? We paying up for the guys like McCaffrey and Jacobs. James Cook with a great matchup against Tampa Bay at home in the snow. We just talked about that. Got Rashad White the other way. Rico Dowdle against Atlanta. Some options here with good matchups. What do you like?
So these are the 2 guys I'm looking at.
And don't you dare, I swear to God, I do not want to fucking hear Kenneth Walker's name.
Dude, I'm going to say Kenneth Walker. James Cook lost a fumble, 13 for 53, 5 for 24 in the air last game. Last 5, his average is 18 rushes for $103. He's ran for over 103 of 4 at home. Also in DraftKings, we need to remember the Bucs have given up the most passing yards per game to opposing running backs. So in the PPR format, Cook is in a good spot. Rico Dowdle, 18 for 53 at a touchdown. In his last 6, he's averaging 20 attempts, 118 yards on the ground. Good matchup here against the Falcons, who have struggled to stop the run. Also, it's really interesting to see how this Falcons defense is going to look like. This is the first time that a team has played in Europe, gone into overtime, and has come back the following week. So there's been times where people have gone to Europe, came back, but no team has ever gone there, gone to overtime, and then came back. Travis Etienne, obviously the angle. He was on my guillotine league, so he's going to go off. 15 for 58 and a touchdown, 2 for 19 in the air last week. He's been under 50 yards rushing in 3 of the last 5, but has 38 carries and 7 catches in 2 games. had 20 attempts and 109 the last meeting. RJ Harvey, great spot. No J.K. Dobbins. He's going to be undervalued, I think, in 50-50's potential to be the chalk. Josh Jacobs, you mentioned the Giants before. Josh Jacobs, 21 for 74 and a touchdown, 5 for 53 in the air last week. Has 9 catches and two of 3. Has 11 scores in 9 games and in 8 of 9 games. I'm a little worried, though. Jenkins is out on the offensive line. How is that interior run blocking going to look against the Giants' defensive line, which is decent?
The only thing so the Giants can't do shit, right? They can't tackle, they can't cover, but they have like 6 Reggie Whites that are like frothing at the fucking mouth. That's like every team now. There's like 400 Reggie Whites that are psychotic. They can run like a 4.40. And that's why these quarterbacks are just under assault. Everyone, they just have these psychotic pass rushers, and the Giants have a whole shit ton of them. I think four guys you could, with Thibodeau, Carter, Burns, and
Lawrence.
And Dexter Lawrence. Very, very good up front. But they can't do anything but rush the passer, so that's the concern, right?
Quinshon Jenkins, 22 for 75, has gone 22 for 75 in 2 of the 3, 20 for 75 in 4 of the 6. Home average is 96 yards on the ground. Had 10 rushes for 61 yards the last week meeting against the Ravens, but that was his first game back from the suspension to start the season. Bijan Robinson, really disappointed last week. Only had 17 touches and 84 yards. Did play 85% of the snaps in 3 of the last 4 games since the bye. He is averaging 5 catches for 39 yards, has 4 scores in three meetings, 111 scrimmage yards the last time they played the Panthers. Devin Singletary, 8 for 20, 3 for 53 in the air. I think we're going to see him take a little bit more over of the Giants' backfield. You mentioned Rashard White. I think we're going to see Sean Tucker start to slowly take over that backfield. When you look at the stats, he has looked more impressive as the runner. Had 10 carries for 51 yards last game. So I think we could see Tucker against this Bills defense, which has struggled stopping the run. I think he's in a good spot. Obviously, you're going to hate me for saying this. Kenny fucking Walker.
How? It's a horrible matchup. It's
14
terrible.
for 67, has a run of 65 yards in 2 of 3, averaging 14 and 14 carries, 63 in yards in 4 of the last 6 games. Went 25 carries for 83 yards last time. Last note, he's in my guillotine league. I am out, so he's going to have his best game ever. Vidal, 25 for 95, TD with a 13-yard catch. Last 5, he's averaging 17 carries at 72 yards. I think he's in a great spot against the Jaguars defense, which is insanely underperformed. And the last one, Jaylen Warren, went 24 for 70 and 2 for 21 in the air last game. Has at least 60 yards in 3 of the last 4. In the last 4 games, he's averaging 73 yards on the ground and 2.5 catches. Had 127 yards on the ground last game against the Bengals. I think Warren may be lost in the game against the Bengals, which defense has been brutal this year.
Yeah, I love Jaylen Warren. The only team with the worst, so when we talk about adjusted fantasy points allowed, the only team worse at another position than the Bengals at running back with a 12.6 adjusted fantasy points allowed for the Bengals defense is the Bengals against tight ends. And then, of course, unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers likes to throw to 4 tight ends. So that game gets real fucking murky because of that, and it gets real tough, and it's going to be some cheap fucking tight end that ruins things. But I love that call. Some of the defenses to avoid, the Chiefs are number 1, negative 7.6. So my question was, you have guys like Walker, the Rams, by the way, the 4th toughest. So it's very difficult. My question is, so you got Walker and you've got RJ Harvey at 5,100 DraftKings and 5,400 DraftKings. And then at that same price point, allowing the second most fantasy points to running backs, you have Woody Marks at 5,400 DraftKings, 6'3" Fanduel. I would take Woody Marks, me personally. Woody Marks, I would, at that same price point, over RJ Harvey. Although I do like the receiving upside, and they may need to rely on that. Obviously, no J.K. Dobbins for a few short weeks, but I think Woody Marks for some value. makes some sense to me. So I marked him down there. Just some other guys. James Cook's in a great spot. You mentioned it. Both running backs, Rashad White, Cook. Josh Jacobs, great spot. You mentioned Quinshon Judkins. I completely agree there. I think that's it. Oh, one other guy, just kind of mid-tier, who's quietly just become one of the more solid. You can count up double-digit fantasy points in 4 of the last 5 weeks, 15 or more, 3 straight. Chase Brown. I know the Steelers are tough. They're the 3rd toughest matchup, but he's going to be involved in the passing game. He had 14 targets last week, Chase Brown did, in the passing game. They continue to do that with Chase Brown. They're going to throw it a lot against that Steelers defense. I think Chase Brown, 5'7", on DraftKings, 7'2" on Fanduel, makes a lot of sense as well. Anything else on running backs before we get to wide receivers?
I think there's certain games you need to kind of attack. And, we're talking about Woody Marks. I think between Woody Marks, Nico Collins, or Davis Mills, as crazy as it sounds, it's a must. You have to start one of the 3.
Yeah, Woody Marks is probably the best value running back. Him or Harvey, and that Chiefs defense is so good. The Chiefs are number 1 in terms of adjusted fantasy points allowed against wide receivers and running backs. In Denver, does anyone? You didn't even take time to talk about how much of a worthless sack of crap Bo Nix was in your lineup and how pathetic that offense looks. And I could see the Texans moving the ball. If I can get goal-to-go carries with Woody Marks, I feel like I'll get more goal-to-go carries with Woody Marks than I will with RJ Harvey or Kenneth Walker for that matter, because we both know what happens when they get down there. Zach Charbonnet comes in. Or they'll even bring in, how about, did you like it when they brought in George Halani to get a couple?
Yeah, like what the fuck was that? Like why the fuck?
Because they don't like Kenneth Walker. Because I am saying this, I know you, I would, no, I'll never fucking play Kenneth Walker again. Zach Charbonnet will have to be like Zach Charbonnet will have had to like move to Europe and is nowhere in the vicinity, and he'll have to be the only healthy running back on the field for the Seahawks. That's the only way I'll play him, because they don't like him. They don't like him. They like Zach Charbonnet.
This is my theory. This is his free agent year. They're purposely sandbagging him so they can sign cheap.
Probably. That wouldn't shock me either. Nothing like that would shock me. Let's get to wide receivers. So before we get to all the players, some matchups to exploit. Teams whose secondaries are beatable. You get a positive adjustment to their fantasy points. The Steelers are the number 1. This has Jamar Chase written all over it. I think he scored in the last time they played him. What did he score? 41 in the first matchup. Holy fuck. Like, it should be all, and he's not even the most expensive, which is wild. Then you've got the Bears. You want to exploit that. The tough part is JJ McCarthy up to the task. The Cowboys, that of course will be later on in the week. Then you've got the Vikings, the Patriots we just saw, Washington, who is that game on the main slate? That Miami Washington game's not.
No, that's the early game.
That's the early. Oh yeah, are they in Europe again? They're in fucking London or something.
Yeah, Germany, I think.
But for you season-long teams, always play everyone against Washington. Colts are on a bye, then the 49ers, the Buccaneers, the Bills. So there's going to be snow in that or likely snow, they say. But there could be points. If they're able to do things, those defenses are beatable. So those are some of the matchups. It's Jamar Chase or nothing. He's going to be crazy owned, right? Yeah. So a pivot off of that, to me, if you want to pivot to Puka or in Jigba, I completely get it, and that's great for tournaments. Do it, switch it up or try to play both. But Jamar Chase is in line for an absolutely massive game. Nico Collins is in a good spot against Tennessee, and Davis Mills targeted it 15 times last week. T. Higgins had 22. That passing game, that first Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game, we saw what happened. The passing game should be ready to rock and roll. I think Keenan Allen, a couple of the Chargers receivers are banged up. These are some of the guys I'm highlighting. And for some value, a guy like Calvin Austin coming back against the Bengals wasn't healthy for that first matchup for the Steelers. Michael Wilson's going to be the number 1 for the Cardinals against the 49ers with no Marvin Harrison. 7 targets last week. Finally starting to get involved. Michael Wilson at 3,800, I think makes sense. Yosevash, I don't hate Yosevash. Flacco likes Yosevash. And just maybe a little Jaden Higgins. Titans starting to get him the ball a little bit, going up against that bad, or the Texans getting him involved, going up against that bad Titans secondary. After Erik answers, we will go over your start sit questions right here. So we'll get your questions. Erik, who do you like at wide receiver this week?
You mentioned Jamar Chase. I really don't think with this matchup I need to justify why. Nico Collins, 7 for 136 last week, has had 75 yards 2 straight, has 36 targets the last 3 games, 79 yards the last time the Titans and the Texans played, and has scored in 2 of the last 3 meetings against the Titans. Greg Dortch. I know you mentioned Wilson. I think Dortch is going to be in line. He's going to be working in the inside with the slot. I know he hasn't done anything, 0 targets last game, but we did see earlier in the year that Thursday night game, I believe it was against Seattle. He did play a pivotal role in the offense. I like Greg Dortch. You mentioned T. Higgins. I think he is in a great spot as well. He scored 3 of the last 4 times against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Jefferson, I know he was a disappointing 4 for 37 yards. Great $500 budget play I spent in the Guillotine League picking him up. That was his first game under 5 grabs. He's been under 50 yards in 2 straight. He has scored in 2 straight meetings against the Bears. Drake London, he has been great the last couple of weeks. He's gone six catches for 101 TD in 4 of the last 5 games. He's averaging 108 yards per game at home this year, and he scored in 3 straight games against the Panthers. Ladd McConkey, 107 yards the last time they played the Jaguars, has 4 scores in the last 6, averaging 76 yards per game in the last 3 games with 9 targets. Wendell Robinson, Slayton's been ruled out. I think we're going to see an uptick.
Jameis Winston too. Are we playing Jameis in DFS?
Dude,
I love Jameis Winston. I hope they let him throw it the 85 times they want him to. But Darius Slayton ruled out Wendell Robinson, and then are we going to go back to the Jalen Hyatts of the world for the Giants? What are we doing there?
Winston does like to throw it downfield. We saw Cedric Tillman last year ball out when Winston was in there before Tillman got hurt. I think that isn't a good spot. Shakir, Allen needs someone to throw to. Kincaid
he's banged up.
Yeah.
So is Shakir, I believe.
Shakir is banged up. Kincaid has been ruled out. I think Shakir could be that guy. Went 7 for 58 last time. Had 92 yards the last time. That last matchup. JSN, really don't need to say anything. Darnold's in love with him, targeting all the time. Cortland Sutton, 3 for 24. He's been under 35 yards in 3 of his last 5 games. This is one of those guys that has been disappointing the last couple of games. I think we're going to see him in a good matchup against the Chiefs, where I think they can be exploited on the outside. And look, Romeo Dobbs is banged up. Kraft's on the IR. Christian Watson, 2 for 45.
Is he healthy? Is he going to play?
I thought he's healthy. He played on Monday night. He had 45.
I know, but he was back on the injury report. I thought I saw.
Okay. And the big stat for me is I'm a big touchdown regression guy for these guys that play. He's gone 13 games without a touchdown. You know what I mean? He's due for some positive touchdown regression.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's get to some questions here. We got some wide receivers on our first question here from Let's Make Some Money 69. AJ Brown, Cedric Tillman, or Keon Coleman. That's easy, AJ Brown. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. It's a great matchup against the Lions. Plus, you have a legit number 1 receiver against shit. So no matter what, Sunday night at home with all the noise, you got to take AJ Brown. In my view, that one's fucking easy. What do you think, Erik?
I think like AJ Brown's one of those guys you just draft, and he's always going to be in your lineup.
Yeah, and I think this week he outscores those.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. Next question. For the Commanders-Dolphins game, single game showdown, am I crazy to think Ertz in the captain spot? I don't hate it. So the Dolphins have been very, very bad against opposing tight ends. Ertz has a 23.7 target share over the past 5 weeks. The Dolphins, they're adjusted 3.5. FPA is the 4th most against the position. But over the last 2 weeks, they've surrendered a combined 35.9 fantasy points to Ravens tight ends in week 9 and 22 more to Bills tight ends in week 10. The problem is how athletic is Ertz. I don't hate it. It's probably going to be – I would play Zach Ertz, But you got to figure out how to have Waddle or A-Chain in your cap. A-Chain against Washington might score 50 fantasy points this week. I mean, the Washington Commanders defense is absolutely, unapologetically fucking terrible. It's probably going to be A-Chain or bust, but I don't hate Zach Ertz. What do you think Ertz in the captain spot?
I mean, I think it makes sense because, I mean, you by using him and paying down, it's just going to open up so many avenues. You know what I mean? I think kind of that's the key.
I'm just thinking about that game, and I think there's enough. Like you're going to have value guys like Jalen Lane and Malik Washington and whoever the backup running back for Miami is. Chris Rodriguez will be in play. So I think you'll be able to build a lineup. I don't have that contest in front of me, but I feel like you'd be able to build a lineup with A-Chain at captain and play Ertz and play Waddle and probably be fine. But I don't know. I'm not there. But yeah, if you're going to pay down and you're going to be contrarian, I think Ertz is a good call.
I'm pulling it up right now. These are just the captain prices. 18.3 for Achin, 15.9 for Waddle, 15 for Tua, 14.7 for Mariota, 14.4 for Samuel.
Hard pass on that.
10.5 for JCM, 9.9 for Rodriguez, 9.3 for Washington. I mean, Ertz is
Where's Ertz at?
8,700.
It's pretty cheap. I don't hate that.
I mean, because dude, do that. You could probably get Achin, Waddle, and you have for 3 spots, you have 18.5 remaining. So I mean, it allows you a way to get Achin and Waddle in the lineup. You know, like I don't know. That's
probably want Tua as well with those two. They're going to be throwing it to each other. Probably want to get Tua, and then you have the tight end. You hope the quarterback, but that's going to be tough. But yeah, I think that's a decent way to pay down and do that contest. Speaking of tight ends, we are on to tight ends. Bye week this week. Some of the bigger names are not on the slate. Play later. Sam Laporte is on Sunday night, but he's been ruled out for Detroit. So the tops: McBride, Kittle, Kelsey, and then Arondé Gadsden. I like all 3 of them. McBride's the guy against the 49ers. I mean, if you can get McBride in your lineup, enjoy those tight end points because you're going to get a ton of them. I think Gadsden against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's the second worst team in the league against opposing tight ends. Only team that's worse is the Bengals. So Arondé Gadsden for the Chargers at 4,600, I think makes a ton of sense. Cade Otton, big part of that offense. Again, Buffalo, though, very tough against tight ends, but as you see the weapons get hurt, more and more injuries. Chris Godwin out again for both these teams. Guys like Cade Otton and Dawson Knox, who is way down here at 3,300, absolutely in play. Then you talk to Steelers tight ends. I got Freiermuth marked. I don't know which one to take. They're all in play. Bengals are the worst team in the league. Bengals and Jags, a 14.2 and a 12 adjusted fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends. Attack those 2 teams. You should be good. What do you think at tight end this week?
Well, I have a player prop listed in the Patreon. Click the link in the description. I have one tight end that I love for the Steelers. In here, TJ Hawkinson. He ran 42 routes on 59 snaps last week, but only had 2 for 8. The last 3, he's gone 6 for 45 and 1 TD. The Bears are allowing the 7th most points to tight ends per game. So we have another one of those guys that disappointed, that is in a good spot. Now, do you know which team? Here's a trivia question for you, my friend. Which team is allowing the 2nd most yards per game to opposing tight ends? And they're playing a team that has started to go very heavy set. A lot of 13 personnel. It was a shocker. It was a shocker.
Seahawks? Maybe the Seahawks?
It is the Seahawks. How about Tyler Higbee?
How about me getting that right? Huh?
How about Tyler Higbee has 3 grabs with 4 straight, 2 total touchdowns, 5 for 46 last meeting against the Seahawks. I think Tyler Higbee, especially if Devontae Adams doesn't play, who's been banged up. I haven't had a chance to look at the injury report. You mentioned Gadsden, great spot, but he is dealing with that knee. I think he's going to be able to go 5 for 68 and 4 of the last 5. Travis Kelce has 5 grabs and 4 6 meetings averaging 5 for 68, 6 grabs in 3 of his last 5, had 8 for 64 in the last meeting against the Broncos, has 6 straight catches in the 4 straight meetings against the Broncos. Colston Loveland, 4 for 55, played 43 snaps, ran 23 routes, 3 catches in 4 straights, has gone in 2 straight with at least 55 yards. Good spot for him. You mentioned Trey McBride, not going to go over he enough said with him. Kyle Pitts, 27 routes and 58 snaps. He's averaging 52 yards per game with 6 catches at home, only 39 yards the last time they met, and the Panthers are allowing the 8th most points to tight ends this season. Last 2, Dalton Schultz had 53 yards, ran 40 routes and 58 snaps, has gone 6 for 50 in 2 straight, has 5 catches in 6 of the last 7, but only 30 yards, but 5 catches the last time they played. The 2 tight, I'm not looking at Freiermuth just because when you look at what he's done this season, you take out the 111 yards, he's really struggled this season in terms of production. It's basically Jonnu Smith and Darrell Washington in my eyes. Smith, the last 3, he's gone 10 targets, 6 catches, 46 yards, 3 for 28 and a touchdown in the last meeting. He's second on the team in targets, receptions, and yards. And Darnell Washington is second on the Steelers in red zone targets, has a 19.4 target share inside the 20. Inside the 10, he has a 20% target share, and the Bengals have given up the most touchdowns to his opposing tight ends this season. And they have given up TDs the last 5 games to opposing tight ends. So
I know. That's what I mean. There's 4 of these fucking tight ends.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know but I will say, as I'm looking at this, so often we're looking for on that flex position to find a wide receiver or a cheap running back. This might really be a week where you could play Trey McBride at tight end or another tight end, and then at your flex, double it up at tight end. There's a lot of cheap tight ends with upside. You mentioned Higbee and Jonnu Smith certainly has upside. Darnell Washington. There's tight ends down here that are cheap. Dawson Knox filling in. Obviously, it's at 3,300. I think you could double up at tight end this week so you can pay up elsewhere. I think that makes a ton of sense. We got a question here before we go over defenses and get you guys out of here. Yo, did I win this trade? I just traded Woody Marks plus Jamison Williams for Josh Jacobs. I have Kyron, Javante Corum, Jackson Smith, and CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, you did. That's a great trade. Josh Jacobs is a legitimate. He's one of the few legitimate no poacher. There's no one poaching his touchdowns. I have Josh Jacobs on my team. Josh Jacobs is a legit number 1. Your team's solid. Kyron Williams, Javante, Jacobs, JSN, and Lamb at running back, wide receiver, flex is excellent. I think you won the trade. What do you think? That's actually a terrible trade for the other person. Why they would want Woody Marks or Jamison Williams? It sounds like you're trading with a guy who's a fucking idiot.
That
right?
you are way nicer of a gentleman than I am, my friend. I think you totally won that trade.
Yeah, you completely won that trade, and the guy you traded with got completely robbed. They're a drooler. Sorry if you're related to him, but you robbed him. You definitely robbed him. Defenses. I had defenses marked, but it felt like unmarking them for me. I like the Texans a lot at 3,700 against Houston. And then it gets fucking dicey. The Chiefs against the Broncos. We've seen how anemic that Broncos defense is. And then, where do you want to go? I don't like a lot of these defenses. Brock Purdy's back for the Niners. Maybe he's rusty. You take the Cardinals. Do you pay down for the Browns? Do you maybe take the Chargers against the Jags? This is tough. What do you think, defenses?
So hear me out. If you really want to pay down, I think the 2 best options. Giants defensive line is great. No Jenkins for the Packers at the center position. Everything's going to be cycled around in the interior. Maybe they can make Love's life a little hard, have that run game struggle. Cleveland's been electric at home, only giving up 13 points per game. Really like those 2. You mentioned the Cards. I like the Cards. I think Purdy's going to struggle his first game back. Another one, the Seahawks. This game is so big for the NFC, for the division. Is this going to – I think this is the potential to be kind of like a playoff type game, a lot of running the ball, you know what I mean? Playing stuff closer to the chest, not taking many risks. Definitely like that. I like the Panthers too because I mentioned it earlier. This is the first time a team has ever gone overseas, played an overtime game, and coming back.
Yeah,
So
and I think the Falcons and Carolina, both those defenses, because both those offenses suck. Both those quarterbacks suck. Bryce Young, terrible. Michael Penix, absolute dog shit at quarterback. So both those defenses are live. But I think the number one's the Texans, right? That's the one. I mean,
oh yeah, the Texans by far is the number one. Another one more that's under the 3,000 barracks. I usually don't like spending over $3,000. The Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers. I completely agree. All right, that's everything there. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We really appreciate that. Click the link in the video description below. Join the DFS Huddle. Should we make a little lineup here as we get out of here real quick?
Let's make a little lineup, my friend.
Let's make a lineup. We'll start. We'll do what we'll do. I don't know what it likes to generate. It's been generating these crazy. Last week we generated some. I posted them on the Patreon, 210.5 points. So let's just go one at a time. So at quarterback, who do you want? You'll pick the top first position. Who do you want at quarterback?
Who do I want? Let's go Davis Mills.
Davis Mills. I don't even know if I can find him in here. The stupid thing. Pick someone else.
Caleb.
Caleb Williams. Okay, and then at running back, this first running back spot, I'm going to go ahead and I will take Jaylen Warren at 6,100. All right, next running back spot. Who do you want?
I'll go Quinshon.
Quinshon Judkins. There we go. All right, wide receiver one, we have Njigba in right now. I'm going to go Jamar Chase. All right, next receiver.
Receiver. I'm gonna go down. Can I get Dortch?
Greg Dortch. Let's go get some Dortch. Let me find him here. There he is, 3,300. We got some Greg Dortch. Next wide receiver, I suppose we should stack someone with Caleb, right? So do we take Roma Dunes?
We can take Dunes.
Stack him there. Now we are 200 over our next two positions. Now we got tight end. It has Trey McBride in there.
I think we just stay with McBride.
Stay with McBride, and then we got Texans in at defense. So we just need to save 200 at the flex here from Michael Wilson. So we can go Jaden Higgins. We can go tight ends Andrews, Andre Yosevich.
What's Tyler Higbee?
Tyler Higbee, we can do him. There's Pat Fryermuth down there too. I think Higbee was 3,000. I know I have him marked red. Oh, yep, there he is. That's Hawkinson.
I think
there's Tyler. Tyler Higbee, 2,700. So that leaves 900 on the table. So technically, we could pay up and get like James Cook or Kyron Williams.
Pay up and get James Cook.
James Cook, so that Caleb Williams, Jaylen Warren, James Cook, Jamar Chase, Greg Dortch, Roma Dunze, Trey McBride, Tyler Higbee, Texans defense. Again, all the lineups we like, that'll be in the Patreon. Click the link, join that up, $15 a month. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter. We really appreciate you guys. From myself and Erik, have a great rest of your week. And, of course, good luck on all your future ways.